at change and transformation, yes, there's methodologies, yes, it's about process, yes, it's about operating models. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chatting Transformation, the podcast designed to help you with your change and transformation journey. I'm Barry, I'm a change and transformation specialist, and I've been in this field for coming up for 20 years. And the whole point of this podcast is for me to share my experiences, my learnings, my opinions, what worked well for me in the past and what didn't, so that when you undertake your change and transformation journey, things are just that little bit easier. Now, with it being the last podcast of the week, I thought we'd do something different, and so we've come outside to enjoy the wintry weather. We don't often get this, so I thought it'd be nice to have a bit of a change from my study when I'm making this video.
Hello everyone. Now, as you can probably see from the intro to this episode, I was trying to do something different, and I thought it would be nice to get out and about, particularly with the weather, and this being a end of week episode heading into the weekend, to do something different. But like the mentality of fail fast, as soon as I got out on the snow and did more than about a minute's worth of video, I fell over 3 times. I was interrupted by dogs running up to me. I was interrupted by cyclists, by people asking what I was doing. So we had to cut that short and return back to the study here. But we are going to do something different in a way, because today's podcast is more of an opinion piece. So rather than me just giving up to 15 minutes of what I think about a certain change and transformation subject, I want to talk about something that I saw a couple of weeks ago and get your opinion on it. And I really am keen to hear your thoughts and feedback on this, about the subject and about doing this kind of podcast in general. So do put them in the comments below, and if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, please do like and subscribe to get our follower group up. So what I want to talk about today comes off the back of me seeing a LinkedIn post from one of my connections, I think a couple of weeks ago now. And I'll put it up so you can see it and have a read of it. But effectively, it's a story that centres around the prisoner of war camp Colditz in World War II, and an escape plan hatched by a couple of British POWs. I think they're British. This is a third-hand story, by the way, for me, so if I'm getting any of the exact details wrong, I completely apologise. But as part of their kind of escape plan, they effectively built a glider. Now, they didn't get around to using the glider, and I think it might have been because either the war ended or they were moved at the time, but there was some follow-up work done post-war, and it said that basically the glider would have worked and potentially could have been an escape route. And the post goes on to talk about how the people involved faced challenges around procurement, around security, and putting the thing together without being caught. And it then goes on to say none of them had a project management qualification between them, and therefore qualifications are no substitute for experience. And initially I looked at it, I was like, well, I don't know. And what I wanted to do is kind of go through my thoughts of, do I agree with this or not, and to put the idea out there to you guys and get your feedback and your thoughts. So do I agree with it? Yes and no. If I take it on the blunt face of, qualifications are not a substitute for experience. So yes, I agree with the sentiment of that. If you think about it, change and transformation professionals are employed to get things done. And successful change and transformation requires the adoption of new ways of working. If you think back, it's about delivering measurable improvements to an organisation, which are known as benefits, and those are generally enabled by outcomes, which are new ways of working. So it's changing the way the organisation works in order to do something different and to deliver these measurable improvements. And a lot of the qualifications in the kind of change transformation project and program world are based on methodologies and approaches, and they do give you some of the tools that you need, and they talk about how things can be done. But I've yet to come across any of these qualifications that really cover the most important element, and that's people. You can re-engineer all the processes in the world, you can input all the tooling and technology, you can define all the data information that's going to flow through your operating model, but ultimately all of that is a sunk cost unless you convince your people to work in a new way by adopting those or following those processes, adopting that technology and working with that data in the way you want them to, in that new way to deliver the benefits. And so to me, change transformation is a people game. And I think I've covered this previously when talking about it. That is the biggest lesson I've taken from my career. When I started out, I was very lucky that to get into change transformation, I was really in the right place at the right time, and I was able to get a lot of program and project management qualifications done quite quickly, stuff that you would generally see people more senior in their career doing. I basically managed to get them all done, mainly because I was in charge of booking it and had to understand what the courses were. So managed to get quite a lot of these courses done, and I was very taken with them, and I kind of gripped the methodologies with both hands. And what I couldn't understand was when I tried to implement them, or when I was part of a group trying to implement them, why people just weren't doing them. The answer was obvious. It was do it in this way and it'll work. And I never, or I didn't have at the time, developed all of the kind of softer skills around empathizing with people, understanding where they're coming from, understanding the psychology of people that work at home, all of that kind of thing, managing stakeholders and how intricate that can be. To me, it was just, this is a new way of doing it, do that, why are you not doing it, what's wrong with you? And so therefore, the experience that I've got over the last 15 to 20 years has really filled in those gaps and has given me a completely separate tool set to just the how things are done, which is understanding why they need to be done in that way, able to explain why they need to be able to be done in that way, and getting people for the most part to work in that new way. So from that perspective, absolutely, qualifications are not a substitute for experience. Conversely, though, I do not think that experience alone is good enough. So as I said, I'm really lucky. I did a number of program project management qualifications. I've done a whole host of agile ones. I'm a qualified agile coach. I've done the Scrum Master. I've looked at a couple of the agile methodologies and got qualifications in those. I have done the managing successful programs, management of portfolios, Prince 2, APM. Even did some ISO stuff in there as well. And I was also really lucky that my previous employers had paid for me to complete 2 master's degrees, one in risk management and one in applied project management, both now 8 to 10 years ago when I finished both of those. And I find that learning and subsequently the qualifications you get from learning, one, they keep you up to date with everything that's going on, and a lot is changing in the program and project world. Fundamentally, a lot of the basics are the same, but the way in which we do them are changing. So it's really good to keep current, do some learning all the time and get those qualifications and get those skills to keep you up to date. Also, it provides people with new skills for different scenarios. So if you're a project professional in a certain industry or field, some of your skills are going to be transferable, but maybe your experience is tied only to that single industry. And so by doing some of that learning and gaining some additional qualifications, you can also most help you understand how you can transfer the experience you have. It also provides growth opportunity. Now, again, I didn't quite realise this until I'd completed particularly the academic courses, was how much the academic research had helped me to understand not just how things are done, but why we do them and why they're done in a certain way, and if you don't do them in that certain way, why they might not work. And it also then allows me to kind of not just blindly follow methodologies, but understand the bits of the methodology that applies in certain scenarios and then tailor it accordingly to get the best results for my clients. So it allows me to continually grow by looking at new ways of challenging new problems and all of that kind of thing. So it's really good in that perspective. And if I think back to a time when I got kind of frustrated by people not sharing that knowledge, I was working with a large organisation that was adopting, this was a good few years ago now, was adopting P3M, which is it comes from the Cabinet Office Best Practice Portfolio Programme and Project Management. You will recognise it as the likes of Prince 2, Managing Successful Programmes, Management Portfolio. Very big in the public sector. As I said, it has been the Cabinet Office Best Practice Delivery Methodology for a long time. But this was actually being, and I'd seen it rolled out in the public sector very well. This was actually being adopted in the private sector. And they had all the programme managers in this big lecture hall, and they were talking about these changes coming forward. And it really frustrated me, one, because they didn't actually explain what P3M was. They just talked about how the tool that they were using, which was a off-the-shelf project management reporting tool, how they were going to use that. And the questions from the programme managers were basically demonstrated that, oh, this is just exactly the same way we've always done everything. We're changing the name of a couple of forms, or the name of a board might change, but fundamentally the content of all the forms and the documents and the artefacts are going to be the same. The board's still going to be made up of the same people making the same decisions, so I just have to relabel everything and continue what I'm doing. And actually, they were fundamentally changing really significant parts, particularly around accountability and responsibility in the bank, but that hadn't been picked up because what turned out was no one had actually gone and done any of the courses that P3M was based on. So people were applying just their experience of how things had always been done. No one had gone and done the Managing Successful Programmes or even the updated Prince 2 or anything like that. So you could see that was going to be really difficult from that point, because there really wasn't this desire to go and broaden understanding, and it was a case of, I have my experience and no course is going to tell me that it can be done in any better way. So for me, a mix of qualifications and experience is really important. So when I'm looking for any other change and transformation professionals to come and support me or my clients, I like to see a commitment to both. So I like to see people that do have experience, depending on the levels that they're coming in at. Obviously, more junior, you're going to have less experience. But equally, I do want to see a commitment to qualifications and gaining qualifications, because they're a really good way to grow understanding and knowledge. Or alternatively, if I'm charged with looking after people in the professional development of anyone that's in the change and transformation world, I'm always looking at opportunities where I can get them both additional experience and additional qualifications aligned to what they're delivering. And again, it's a mix I like to encourage throughout. So in summary, do I agree with the statement? Yes, but to an extent. I'd really love to hear what you all think. So please do, as I said, comment below, either on LinkedIn or on our YouTube channel. If you are on the YouTube channel, please do subscribe and follow us for more releases. And all I've got left to say is have a good weekend, and thank you very much.